Good morning, everybody, and a very lovely day in the neighborhood today, I'll tell you. Saturday morning, and it's a nice, really nice day. It's a fall day, actually. The end of summer approaches here in rural Ontario. So I haven't been on for a little while. Chris was nice enough to catch up for me last week, and I really appreciate that. So I've moved again, but I should be here for a little while longer. What I'd like to do actually for a moment is just show you, because it's also educational, this program. So let's take a look at, hopefully, let's take a look at where I am in the universe right now. Nope, not in Turkey. Let's go to this one. Let's try this one. Now, I'm not even sure if you can see. I may have shared the wrong one. Just a minute. Chrome tab. Nah. You know what? Don't worry about where I live. Right now, we've got the map of Turkey up here. But you know what? I'm going to bring on our guests. This is obviously I haven't shared screen, and you don't do this for a few days and you just forget everything. I'm telling you that. Anyway, we have a great tech guy coming on. But this isn't his forte. StreamYard is supposed to be mine. At any rate, it's a very simple thing. I'm just so excited to be on here this morning and see Sidar Ok. And so without further ado, let's welcome Sidar. Hi, Sidar.
Hello, Judith. How are you doing?
Oh, hey, quite a morning in the neighborhood here already. Trying to share where Guelph is, and I've got two maps up, and that's what the problem is. But let's go with the map from Turkey. So let me try to share my screen this time with only one map up, so it should work quite well. So I'm assuming that everybody can see this map. And here is Turkey. Start with Ria. Can you pronounce this for me, Sidar? Because I don't want to ruin it.
Diyarbakır.
Diyarbakır. Okay. Whoops. Didn't mean to zoom in quite that close. So that's where Sidar comes from. Hey, Batman? Are from Batman?
Nobody's ever far from Batman.
Nobody's ever far. Way to go. I think that's pretty cool. So let's talk a little bit about what it's like growing up in Turkey in these days.
Yeah, like in general, in Middle East, I suppose it's not quite easy to. It's not a very friendly environment for kids to grow up, especially if I compare with where I am now. I'm in Belgium. I'm from Belgium now, and
right.
Here, kids have access to all the different kinds of sports they can do, activities, and so on. Whereas for us, like staying alive was a good sportive activity.
Yes.
Yeah, and
we're laughing, but it's not.
Well, it's better to be able to laugh when you have gone through
yes.
it and you are looking back, then because like the funny side of it has to sustain in your life, otherwise you will be depressed and you will not want to live your life, right? So it is indeed a very difficult way to manage your life if you are looking always from a like generic perspective. If you are looking from a perspective of a Westerner, it is very difficult to live the life. But if you are a little kid who is just trying to get by, things change and your perception for the life changes. And actually, thanks to those perceptions in life, I have been able to achieve some stuff that probably I would not be able to otherwise. So I'm not definitely. I'm very thankful for the background I have. I would appreciate, of course, like a millionaire father or so, but
We all.
I'm fine with my poor middle class teacher father as well, so I cannot complain. So
No, I didn't share with everybody actually when we started. I should have told everybody that you are a coach and a
yes.
business management consultant.
Yes. So from yeah, it might be difficult to make the link from that childhood to like how come you are making any independent consultancy or business consultancy. Like I first got an education in the west of Turkey, which you have better education options. There are more
Okay.
bigger cities. Um, and also, I got out of the civil war, of course, that we are having in Kurdistan, and we still do. Um, and I after I was able to get that education on the west coast of Turkey, which is a very difficult thing to do within Turkey because like you have to understand that like now actually it is a little bit of easier, like you can, if you want to study something, you can study with a little bit of work whatever you want in Turkey, but back in the day like you have to get into an exam of 2 million people, and
Oh,
for top people, like I would say 2,000, 3,000 top people would get into like respectable universities,
oh,
and that makes 1 in 1,000 kids. And when I was in Belgium, and I was like I was talking to the different professors in the universities, and they were telling me like, yeah, we cannot get in kids into the tech, or we cannot get girls into tech. And I
uh,
was like, you are not able to, like it is available and the seats are empty, like you are not able to, like my mind was, I was not able to comprehend the fact
right,
that like you have this opportunity and you, it is left out, like the kids are not interested. So it's a foreign concept here, like is the universities are pushing the kids to get more into tech, to do more technological stuff, whereas over there STEM practices like the engineering and medicine, etc., like
right,
every parent would push you through that. A
right.
little bit also like in Indians and Chinese, probably we have the same or similar culture when it comes to that. My father would like love, he was in love with the idea that I could become a doctor, so he really pushed me to become a
Right.
doctor in medicine. Yeah. And I have myself had to fight with a lot of like my father, I had to fight my community as well, and also the standardization of like some stereotypes, like the successful kid has to become a doctor. That's,
Ah, okay.
and that comes from an understandable point, because you know if you have a look at it, the area is in a lot of difficulties, and the most respected people are the people who heal other people when you
Ah,
get into trouble, of course, and the people who get you out of jail when you end up in jail, right?
right.
So life is not monopoly. I mean, you don't have those cards that you can get out of jail.
That's right.
And that's why lawyers and the doctors are the most respected members of the society. If you are good with numbers, you are going to become a doctor. If you are good with words and people, you are going to become a lawyer. I mean, there is nothing in between,
Nothing
basically.
in between. Well, it's
Yeah,
kind of, given the circumstances and what's going on in the country. That when you explain it that way, it makes a lot more sense for sure.
yeah,
Well,
indeed.
I just want to take a minute to remind everyone as you're coming in to your comment. Now, it looks to me Sherry's here. That might be Sherry, and I know this is Sherry. Multitasking. So, so anyway, thank you everyone for coming on. But just make sure that you log in so we can see. You will have questions and comments later, and we'd like to be able to see them. So going back to how things evolved for you. Spoke with Sidar a few days ago. We've already broached the subject that I was in that area for a while. And actually, I was engaged to a Syrian, and we couldn't get married because of the war. But I do remember um, every time that he heard from his family, someone had passed, someone had been killed. And he said, I'm a man without a country. There, I cannot go home. There's no home to go to the area into Syria, that he would be taken and killed. Now you're in Turkey, but in Turkey, I mean, the war is not the same there, but not everybody wants to join the Turkish army, do they?
Yeah, indeed. Like I, for one, it was one of the biggest push factor for me to get out of that life and not do anything because I don't want to fight. I mean, I'm against like guns and I don't want to kill living things.
Right,
And it might seem like counterintuitive from a person who's coming from war, but actually it has given me a different type of resilience that's rarely seen out of the army. Like the little things in life, of course, now I look at with a different perspective. When my car breaks down, I am a little bit more relaxed than the average person, or at an accident or so. I knew things could go really, really bad. Like I've seen that.
right. Your perspective really changes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and but at the same time, I also respect the fact that guns are dangerous. I mean, I have seen them. I have had people. Uh, I have had friends killed. I have had family members dying in the war. I have seen
Right.
ideological concerns. I have seen purely economical and money related concerns getting into the lives of many people, and the traditions, the religious stuff. Like it's a big mess if you come to
Yeah.
think of it. But I like for me, one of the ways to get out of it was to find a sort of a necessity. Like because if you have a time bomb ticking at the place where you are, and if it says okay, in 10 minutes it's going to blow up, I mean, that's hell of a good necessity to get
That's right.
yourself up and live, right?
It's quite a
So you can,
motivation. Yes.
yeah, and it, I can tell you, Judith, it is really cure to a lot of things. Like take procrastination, for instance. I mean, you will not procrastinate if there is a bomb in your house, and you are not going to hang out on Facebook. Yeah, like
Yeah.
status update. There is a bomb in the house. LOL, whatever.
Yes. But people will leave you soon. Yeah.
Yeah, so it really affects like that necessity of having the bomb in your house. Like it moves you. Like you don't say I'm tired when you have a bomb in your house. You don't say that I'm not going to spend the energy or whatsoever. You just get up and get out of the house. You don't say that I'm sick, etc.
Right.
So uh, to me it was like such a big necessity that at times that I would prefer a bomb in my house to going to the military, the army, because of the very fact that like first I of course don't want to carry guns, and I don't want to be a part of an organization that is made for uh, carrying guns and killing people or any other thing for that matter. But also like who are you fighting against, right? Like they are all, like the people who I'm fighting against are also the same people, same areas, same like maybe my neighbor, maybe my brother's friend, whatever, like
Right.
part of the community, people that you say hi when you are going to the town hall, and in the evening you might be fighting with them, and
Well,
that horror. I didn't want any of it in my
no.
life, and that's why I pushed
You
really.
rise above it.
Yes.
You rose above it. And that's let's try to understand that now. Because that's a wonderful story. How you rose above it.
yeah, and then I pushed myself to get a university degree because that was the only way to that I would be get out. But then I noticed like the big two choices in my hand will not let me to go out. It will even tie me more to the area, like being a doctor or a lawyer.
Right.
Like you cannot really change a lot countries with that. They are not the most mobile professions known, right? There are a lot of difficulties in front of the doctors. They are not uh, a lot in demand because of the language issues, and they need the yeah, the how do you call the equivalence of the diplomas, whatever they have to study
Right.
even more. And for lawyers, I mean, law is local, basically.
That's
I
right.
think that.
Anywhere you go, you're going to have to pass another bar exam.
Yeah, and that's why I have said, okay, I need to find something that's universal. That's for sure. And I didn't even know what a computer is. I have never seen a computer. We didn't have like labs in the school.
Oh yeah.
The first time I've seen like a real computer was at the university at the lab, and it was not like a private computer. Like you had to use like 3 4 people one computer to make a homework, and
Oh
I had friends literally explaining me what a mouse is, like what do you do with it,
wow. Yeah.
how it works. And I remember my astonishment when I was moving the mouse and the pointer was moving on the screen. I was like, this is magic. This is
And yet somehow you got to Amazon and IBM and Microsoft and all. Wow, that
yeah.
transpired.
And from that point I got to I started to work for Microsoft. I have developed a system as part of my senior project, a smart wheelchair for the disabled. Yeah. So this is year about like 2004. So like today we have smart everything, and but by that time having a smart wheelchair with GPS etc was something groundbreaking. So it
Yes.
out we got a lot of our awards from different contests all around the world, and I ended up working for Microsoft, which I was able to then develop very good relationships, and then they became an employer, and then they became a client when I left, and so on. And with those
Excellent.
references, I was then able to get like in Fortune 500 companies like Amazon, Google, Fujitsu, Bridgestone, you name it. A lot of high level strategical accounts. And when I'm looking back to my years of the university study, that I had no idea what a computer is, it looks like quite a big jump for me, of course. Yeah.
That's really something to that's quite a leap for sure.
Yeah. And yeah, I have learned, of course, a lot of lessons on the way. I studied in the US, but then at like we I lost my grandfather in the year 2006, so I wanted to go back, and it took me. I was working at Seattle at Microsoft, and it took me about like 48 hours to get to my hometown. And when I was there, my granddad was already buried, and the ceremony was done, and the 3 days of mourning
Uh,
period has begun. And I was like, okay, this is not going to happen in my life anymore again. I don't I don't take this. I cannot live so far away.
right,
I mean, I need to
right.
be able to. After that, of course, like the flights and the connections, they have improved, I have to say. But I wanted to live closer to my family and the place, and I wanted
Yeah,
to have a luxury of being able to go to my hometown whenever I want. I mean,
right,
we are earning a lot of money. We are getting a lot of accesses to a lot of things, but if we don't really have ways to meaningfully connect and use that money to meaningfully do something about it, I mean, what is the definition of richness,
right.
right?
We have a question coming in here. What is the major thing that has motivated you?
Yeah, as I said, that the necessity that I had was a big motivator. When you have a tiger running on your back, I mean, you can be motivated really to run faster than the tiger, right? Otherwise, you will be eaten. So I would say that the biggest thing would be the
Right.
necessity that you have to. And in my experience, you don't really have to be grown up at a major war zone or have lived in very, very poor areas to have that necessity. It can be at very, very simple little things that you can create that necessity for yourself. Like you can, if you are going to start a new business, just make sure that you don't have a fallback plan, and that's your only success plan. You don't have a plan B that you are going to fall on when your plan A flops. The Of course, you can
Okay.
still have some reserves, like economically speaking, and you can be smart about your savings and stuff. But
Getting it into
in
your
your
room, is
motivation,
there a problem? Is anyone
sorry,
is anyone else experiencing a problem
are there any connection problems? Sorry, I don't hear
with
very well.
the
Hello.
internet?
Yeah, there.
It may just only be on. Sorry, we've sort of gotten interrupted and off topic there. Some of the
I'm
principles.
getting. Yeah, I'm getting lags as well. Uh,
Oh,
so maybe it might be my connection. I don't know. Um,
well, my connection is no better. Don't worry about it. Let's talk about the principles and methods to skyrocket personal here on your talking point. That sounds pretty value.
Hello, Judith. I have not heard you very well. So I have
Okay.
like heard bits and pieces, but I didn't hear the question.
Okay. We'll try again for and hopefully now our connection has settled down a little bit.
Yeah.
Uh, one of the items on your talking sheet is helping people skyrocket their personal value. And that sounds pretty darn interesting to me. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, indeed. This is one of the biggest misconceptions about like becoming a millionaire or becoming a person that like multiplies their earnings without multiplying our value and without increasing the value that we create for the others. We cannot really capture a part of it and increase our earnings, right? And if we get a job done for somebody, um, and we are paid for it, the value that we created is hopefully larger than the money that we have taken. And that's how the capitalist system works, right? You create some value and hopefully you capture a part of it. And with that value that's generated for the other person, he can do some greater things, and the economy continues as a chain. So uh, we need to really increase the value that we provide to the other people by investing. The biggest thing is to invest in ourselves. If
Right.
we are more efficient in what we do, if we have more drive and motivation and more energy in what we do, the value that we create is infinitely going to increase, especially for tech leaders, that which I coach a lot, is like the infrastructure that they have. For example, the way that they communicate in tech world, we have a bit of a problem of communication with the rest of the people, because like we have to bridge a gap between the people who don't understand a lot from technology, anything about it, or
Right.
the people who are really like engineers and very very detailed information technology people. So getting them together is a big challenge for the technology leaders, and lacking some of the basic communication skills can significantly decrease your value. So investing in your own communication, investing in your personal infrastructure, how you communicate, how you write, how you present yourself, how you present the ideas that you have, can like almost immediately increase your value within the market. And secondly, the way, well, like we as the employees, let's say, or as the entrepreneurs, we have to look both in the same way or a diverging way. Like maybe 20 years ago, an employee would be a very different thing than an entrepreneur, but we are seeing now the trends that they are both merging a lot, right? The
Ah,
companies are looking more and more like people who would own the thing that they are doing, even though they are freelancer or self-employed people. They want that people to be part of the team and uh, working like you are an employed person. And at the same time, the employees are expected to act more like entrepreneurs.
ah,
Like they would be more entrepreneurial, they would take on initiatives themselves, they would be like self-motivated, etc. And like 20 25 years ago, it wouldn't be that important that you are not self-motivated, because you would have a manager, and if you are not motivated, it would be the responsibility of the manager. Like, but now
yeah.
self-motivated is everywhere. Like,
Right. Ah, okay. If you're
yeah,
going to keep your job and move forward, that certainly seems what you've got to do for sure.
yeah, indeed. And that's the, like when I started to become a freelance, a self-employed consultant, that's the first thing that hit me. I mean, suddenly I didn't have anybody at all to help me with my personal career or advise me, etc. And getting a coach or a mentor then became my necessity. I had to get a coach because now I don't have a company that's leading me through my trajectory, and every step I have automatically assigned mentors and coaches for me. I have to do it by myself. I have to do my paperwork myself. I have to have my lawyer by myself, my accountant myself. This comes all natural to me, but the I didn't understand at the time why it was not natural for me to take care of my personal development by myself too. So
Oh, okay. I understand that. So, how did you go about finding your first mentor?
my very first mentor was my client, actually. Like,
Oh,
yes, the he was. He was 20 years my senior, and he was the person who gave me the job. And he has seen that I am diligently working on providing some value, and I am not about like getting more hours clocked in. I'm not about trying to get more money out of an engagement that has to be done, but more about the value and the learning aspect. And I have sensed that like he knows a lot and he's sharing a lot with me. And then one day I opened up to him and I said that, what would you want to make it more personal, and would you like to also help me on my personal trajectory, because it's a win-win. You will get better services, and I will improve myself better. So it will be a great deal. So actually, uh, in my opinion, or in consultancy, clients make one of the best mentors. I mean, imagine that you are paid to grow. I mean, and
very,
for free. I don't take anything out of from your business.
all
I
right.
pay you so that you can grow personally and your business wise. and at the same time, you make your business ends meet. So like that has been my best experience. And secondly, I have done a lot of networking in local meetups and interest groups, and approaching the people who speak, who come onto stage, or people who are really knowledgeable, has made a very, very big impact in my life. I mean, you can rarely go wrong with connecting with a person on a human level uh, that has either achieved something that you also want to
Right.
achieve, yeah, or you cannot uh, like they have some tips and tricks for you, because like if I look at Elon Musk, would I
Uh-huh.
want that Elon Musk is my mentor? Of course, like in the name, let's say I would write on my CV whatever, Elon Musk is my mentor, or I would be able to get more connected, etc. It would have other things, but in terms of things to add to me, Elon Musk is not my immediate adjacent, right? So Elon Musk is like up there. Maybe when I am a millionaire of like 100 millionaire, I don't know if there's a term for it, and
Yeah.
I want to become a billionaire, then
Uh,
Elon Musk would make a great mentor for me, But he has really passed where I am from and where he is quite fast. And he has probably never struggled with the things that I'm struggling. I mean, just because that he has become a role model or idol doesn't mean that we have followed a similar path, right?
okay.
Yeah. So
Point. Good point.
that's how I gone about like getting a mentor. Like I've always looked for the adjacent
Right.
person who has done it and who has helped me. Like I started as a developer, and I have connected with senior developers. When I was a senior developer, I have connected with architects, and when I have become a project manager, then I've connected with program managers to see what they are doing. And one of the best coaching outcomes have always come also trying to coach others, like the people who have been in your position.
Right.
And this cycle works very well for the personal development of any business, actually, or the business in general. Because, as coming to the main point, we only capture the value that we create, and this is a great way to generate a big value chain, right?
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. So, what advice? You have one son now, 2.5 years old. You have another one on the way,
Huh?
imminently, anytime now.
Yeah.
So, what advice would you give your sons as they strike off onto entrepreneurship when they're older?
Ooh, I would try to get advices from my son. I hope
Oh,
I can. I hope I can be such a great father that like my son would be in a position to advise me on what to do in the entrepreneurial life, because it's changing so fast, and there are tons of super bad advice out there. Like you,
no
yeah,
short of bad advice. That's true.
Exactly. Like 20 years ago, 25 years ago, maybe it would be difficult to get access to the information. But now our main problem is that we have access to too much information.
Okay.
And yeah, we are like, suddenly we get a lot of lights, and like the rabbit, we just stop and we freeze with in the view of a lot of information. We don't know what to do. We don't know where to start. A lot of people say, do this, do that, build a mail list, make a marketing campaign, and do this, and present in local communities. No, don't look at the online marketing thing. Oh, do look at in online marketing thing. Make business cards. No, business cards are the past. No, 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 they are not the past. They are back in fashion. I
Right.
mean,
You
a
need a
lot of
website. No, you don't.
in
Exactly.
the, and so you need the biggest gains for me to deal with the type of information and situation has been to develop my own filters, and that has been difficult. I mean, and that's what each of us have to do, right? Like, which advice is going to touch me, which advice that I'm going to take it to heart and run with it.
And
And
then
that
going to propel you forward.
exactly. So I'm not going to take in every advice, or I'm not going to internalize all of them, but I am going to set some criteria for the ones that I'm going to get motivated on. And the advices that we would possibly get from our kids, I mean, for example, I don't understand Snapchat. I mean, and I am not. I am. I am a technology person.
Yeah.
I am in the middle of my life. I mean, I am 35 or whatsoever. I have seen all the technologies going and coming by. I am on Facebook, big on Facebook. I understand the point of Instagram,
Uh-huh.
no problem, etc. But I don't get Snapchat. I just don't get it, and I need advice. I mean, on that front, I would, if my son is on Snapchat, like he's too young now, he's 2.5 years old, but
Yeah.
there will be technologies that I just don't get the point of that technology. And on those entrepreneurial points, I would love to get some advice from my son. But if I would give him like one simple thing, that if he can never go wrong with investing in himself,
Ah, okay.
doing things before theorizing, he cannot go wrong with it. He should just go and do the things that he wants to see changed in his life. He wants to earn, he wants to buy something that we cannot afford. Okay, he has to go and open a lemonade stand, whatever,
Right.
and get it done. I mean, I'm not the type of father that would hand him uh, everything in life, because I was not grown up like that.
Right.
Of course, like I'm not going to put my kid into the situation that I was in, hopefully.
Right.
Um, but he also has to understand that the good things in life come through great work. And that would be the top advice that I give. Invest in yourself, don't overthink, just do things and apologize later if you have to.
And apologize later if you have to. I think you'd make a great Canadian.
Or politician in Canadian.
There you go.
Yeah.
Now, on a slightly different topic, I understand that you are an avid chess player, an Argentinian tango dancer, and a DJ.
Yeah, I was a tango dancer before I started to become a tango DJ as well. But
Okay.
before dancing, I was DJing in house parties, and I was doing trance music uh, in my DJ sets. But after I started tango, I started DJing tango music,
Oh,
and I
okay.
went to Buenos Aires to study the tango, the history, and I have connected with the elderly over there, the old milongueros, to understand really the culture. Because it was amazing me, like, because like in all over the world, it's very little that, like, you don't come home from a bad day and you tell yourself, I feel horrible today, I think I'm going to go dancing, right?
Right. I think I'll do a tango.
Because that, yeah, and dancing is a happy thing for nearly all over the world, right? Like,
Right.
all everything, like, I feel very melancholic, I think I'm going to go and shake my butt a little bit in doing salsa, etc. like like by salsa, bachata, etc. Like all those type of dances,
Uh-huh.
you do it when you're happy. What attracted me with tango was that, like, it is quite melancholic, melodramatic, and
Yeah.
you do it when you are. unhappy. It talks, the tango lyrics talk a lot about the immigration, that resonates a lot with me. Of course, like losing your land, like you have said, with your fiance, not the feeling of not being belonging to anywhere. You say you can see all of them in tango, and because tango has come from the suburbs of Buenos Aires, and also from the jails.
Right.
Uh, they have created a different language called Lunfardo, and Lunfardo is the language that they have invented, the inmates have invented, so that you don't understand when they are speaking between each other. So the
Oh,
guards would not understand. Yeah.
I
So,
see. Prison.
so
Yeah.
a lot of the tango lyrics and poems come from there. Of course, a bigger majority comes from the golden age of tango after 1940s and 1950s. But it has a very interesting culture, and it has always enticed me.
Oh,
It
interesting.
resonated with me. And other than that, I indeed play chess. I love playing chess.
Uh-huh.
It talks to my system too. Like I talk a lot about this system one in system two, from the book of Daniel Kahneman's Thinking Fast and Slow. I don't know if you had a chance. He has won a Nobel Prize in 2002 with that work, and it is fascinating, like what he talks about. The I don't know if you have heard about.
I'm not familiar with that
Yeah.
knowledge.
So the in a nutshell, I'm not going to give spoilers about the book. It's not a fiction book anyway,
Okay.
but you have two systems. Like you have your system one, which is quick, intuitive, and it will get you out of quick troubles in the nature. Like you suddenly see a lion, run.
Okay.
It's not
Intuitive.
a long intuitive. It's not a long term thinking, and it really empowers you to do short things with greater motivation than you would otherwise do, because you will find that energy to run from the lion. I
Okay.
mean, the body has to assure it, like all your body and your hormonal system is geared towards that signal, right? And then you have your system too. It is more long term, more calculated, right? The For example, like in the winter time, or in the things that you are using for chess, for instance, is
Right.
long term thinking. You are not in a fight or flight mode. All the decisions that you are making, you need to stop and reflect a little bit. um, and like math, for example, if I ask you, what is 2 times 2, 4 comes from system 1, right? But if I ask you, like, what is 13 times 27, okay, you spend a little bit of more time to do so, and that comes from system 2. It is more long term thinking. It is not the
Oh, okay.
instant. So I found that in my life, I was really very reactive, coming from Middle East.
Yes.
So I had to be very reactive on the things that I'm doing, and I have to decide quickly on doing stuff, and it helped me a lot in my life. But I came to a point that I have seen that I have to also stop and reflect and think about the long-term aspects. And I researched about it. I found book on Daniel Kahneman's work, and that got me restarted to chess. I was a chess player when I was a small kid, but we didn't have access to coaches or clubs. When I came to Belgium, I wanted to enroll into a tournament to start playing chess again, and they said that, well, you have to go and enroll in a club. And I was like, great, what's a club? like
That's
like I have to enroll in a club, and then we are gonna drink or whatever, like like is that I thought chess was a quiet game. I mean, I cannot handle those big noises anymore. And then only then they told me that, like, it's a chess club that you have to enroll. Okay, you so there are things called chess clubs. Oh, there are things called chess coaches. etc. So
Right.
only then I was able to get it. Who knows, like what I would do with my life if I had chess coaching when I was small.
Yeah.
But now I'm happy that I have something in my life that I can feed my system to, and system one at
As
the
well.
same time. Yeah.
Excellent. We have a question here that someone has asked. They haven't signed in, so I don't know who it is. Do you have to approach marketing there any different than you do here? Now, I'm going to assume the there is Turkey and the here is Belgium.
Uh, or is it Canada and Belgium? That's also like I can tell about both three because I lived in the US and I have had business relationships with Canada. As a, my coach, actually current coach, shout out to him if you would ever listen. He's Mark is from Toronto as well. He's from Canada too. So I have many Canadian friends, and you have a similar culture also with the US when it comes to marketing. In Europe, we have a little bit of a different culture, and in Turkey, it is much more different, of course. Like in Turkey, currently, the online marketing, let's say, now I'm not talking about like the local marketing and the signs of shop, but
Online marketing, sure.
the online marketing is at a very advanced level, and you can really have great successes by jumping up with the influencers because the country is like an 80 million people. It's quite large,
Uh-huh.
and you can see the effects of it also with the United States, right? Like influencers are playing big roles, like even
Right.
though they don't provide a lot of value, a lot of people watch Kardashians. I mean,
Exactly. Yeah.
if you do business with them, even if you don't sell anything that's so meaningful, or if you don't have to spend a lot of time in cleverly marketing it, you will get it sold. In Turkey, it is a little bit like that nowadays. But in Belgium, it is different because we are a country of 10 million, and you have to really sell services at a higher margin because you cannot sell to 80 million anymore. Like you cannot sell to 20 million because the country has 10 million. And with the best marketing, you are going to reach maybe 1% of that market. I mean, and that's gonna be like awesome. You are reaching
Right.
it. But then to have the same kind of margin, then you have to increase your prices because we have a lot of taxes. Yeah, we have tons of. We have to pay for a lot of other social security, etc., etc. Excuse me,
Uh-huh.
and that changes the way that people are looking at it. Like in Belgium, we have to be very careful about the political correctness. We have to be like, since we would never elect a person like, for example, Donald Trump, uh, we his methods would not work in Belgium. He would
They don't
say,
work anywhere. Sorry.
well, apparently it works somewhere. I mean, he was. It's debatable how successful he was in as a U.S. businessman, but like his methods of being very upfront and brash and direct would not resonate here. But I know from U.S. that there's a society, there's a part that it works with them,
Right.
like they like they see it as an authenticity matter. They find that it is a matter of being powerful. Acting as powerful makes you powerful, type of
Right.
thing. And I understand that, but in Belgium we don't have that. We don't have so the more, for example, if you are seen as a person who is taking care of the environment, greens, like our current background. um, Everything that you do, you have to think about also, of course, regulations. I'm not talking that this is a good thing or bad thing. I'm just saying that this is different. It conditions your mind. We have GDPR here that we have to think carefully
Right.
about when we are collecting emails, when we are showing some uh, s- messages, we have to think about the audience that's we are whose that
Right.
data we are processing now. Uh, yeah, and we have different languages in Europe as well that we have to also think about each language's culture. In Belgium, we have three official languages, and God knows how many we have to market. We have big Turkish population here. We have big Arabic population. We have a lot of Syrians. Whatever you are targeting, going with their own language is the most important thing. Whereas I suppose in Canada you can easily get by just by English and a little bit of French, maybe no, from time to
Actually, no,
yeah,
because everything has to be bilingual. Everything that you produce has to be bilingual.
yeah, and that makes it closer to the European type of marketing. Um,
Mind you, in
yeah,
the States, I suppose they have to offer Spanish.
in the US,
Yeah, in the US, to offer Spanish.
yeah, actually they are realizing it more and more. I would say again, like when I was working in the US in 2006, they they wouldn't think about it. I mean, because they always thought that the money is in the English speakers. So why would we ever market to
Right.
Spanish or his the other parts of society? But now it has changed, and the yeah, the marketing dynamics with the culture and the way to speak people. It is very hard to be authentic now with your marketing campaigns, very hard to resonate with people at scale,
At
right?
scale. Yeah.
So yeah.
Sorry, we're coming up on an hour now, so I kind of want to bring. I want to talk about what it is that you're offering as a handout today.
Yes, I have made a research about 2 weeks ago. It was concluded, and I'm giving it as a free gift for people who are watching it. I'm currently not selling anything, so you are not going to see a lot of
We're not today.
disrupting stuff. Like real, it is real research on what are the biggest career roadblocks against the independent consultants in tech. So I have made a research about, like, if you're a tech person or if you are thinking of a career in tech, or if you know somebody who is looking at a career at tech or trying to make some money by offering services in tech, it will be of an enormous use. It has been to me. We have found what are the top skills required in tech. Surprising results. I'm not going to give spoilers.
Okay.
Uh, and we have also found like the different aspects that directly affect your compensation at a company or as a freelancer. And just enjoy the read and tell me what you think after you download and read it.
Oh,
Uh, it will be very much appreciated.
excellent. I'll have a look at it. How much of it I understand remains to be seen, but I'll have a look.
You'll understand way better than a lot of my own clients do. So moving a little bit.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Sidar, for coming on and sharing so much with us. It's so different when you do business from different parts of the world and with different cultural backgrounds.
Yes.
Excuse me, the motivation, how you deal with procrastination, uh, all of that. That's very useful to us. So, thank you very much for sharing everything, and good luck with your impending birth.
Thank you very much.
Everything will go well. Good best to Mama there.
Cheers. And it was my pleasure. And thanks for the invitation. And thanks also for both inviting me and sharing also your personal story. I was touched by the time that I heard about it, and I knew that this was going to be a very pleasant chat already.
It is. It's very nice to bring a lot of these memories back for me. I appreciate that, and I really appreciate what you have gone through, Sidar, to get to where you are. You've had one hell of a journey, and you've done very well for yourself.
Thank you very
Excellent,
much.
very motivating. Thank you very much.
Cheers. Thank you.
Okay, so the end of Saturday. What were you going to do with the rest of your day? Hopefully, you will find something that motivates you to go on and do something. Let's get ready for Monday. Let's get some uh, some ideas going so that we can get ready for Monday. Um, we do have a message for Sidar. Thanks for sharing your knowledge and time, and very much appreciated. So, everyone, next week we have. Whoops, there we go. Next week we have, if my memory serves me correctly, Barbara Martinez from Goshen Chambers. So Barbara Martinez is the executive director of Goshen Chamber of Commerce in New York, the state of New York. And this will be an opportunity to talk with the head of a chamber and find out how they perceive all of us coming in and wanting to do things with the chamber. So I think it'll be a time when you'll have quite a few questions to ask. And she's a lovely person, and I know that she doesn't mind answering all kinds of questions. She's a very candid individual. You'll enjoy it. So, without further ado, do go enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you next week. Thank you. Bye bye.